All right, now joining us for reaction on the Thabo Bester versus Netflix ruling is Elton Hart, attorney at UJ Law Clinic. Good afternoon, Elton. Thank you as always for joining us on the program. A spirited fight that has led to naught for the applicants, essentially. The matter has now been struck off with costs. Your reaction?
No, indeed, this application by the applicants was dead from the get-go, because here you can look at it very nicely that you can see this was a man-made urgency because they had knowledge from 20 August that Netflix intends to actually flight this documentary. Why did they not take steps to actually sort of have the perceived harm that they think that they will suffer to try and actually deal with this? They waited for hour 99, then they actually enrolled the application. And then also one needs to look at, if you look at the merits of the case, all the information that I think Netflix is going to use, intend to use in the documentary is already in the public domain. So what harm will they suffer? And I think on that basis, that application would not stand, because you, as the judge pointed out on defamation, you have other measures or tools at your disposal if you feel like somebody is defamed you. And the one thing that I think they're looking at is the fair trial rights, but we will delve into that a little bit later.
I want us to go back to the urgency element. You say, which was something that was also argued by Netflix, that it was a self-created urgency, as indeed it was the 20th of August when the promo was first aired. But if the argument by Nandipha that we must remember that she is incarcerated, it would be difficult to consult in most instances, would that argument not have sufficed in any other situation? Because I know in this instance, at least, Judge Sulet agreed with Netflix that it was self-created insofar as the urgency is concerned.
No, in some instances, you might find that prison authorities make it difficult for people to consult, but in her affidavit, I don't think that they actually demonstrated any way that they had difficulty in consulting with their legal practitioners. If they said that they were denied complete out-and-out consultations up until yesterday when they actually enrolled the matter, and they said that out in their affidavit, hence they're bringing it at this very hour of 99, then I think maybe the judge would have looked at it very differently, because then it was not something that they created themselves, but it's something that was created by the authorities that stopped them to actually consult properly with their legal representatives. So that is how one needs to look at how that urgency came about.
It seems as well, when we look at the uniform rules, there was no proper procedure insofar as seeking condemnation or anything, because they were essentially lambasted or at least shouted at or scolded for that aspect, that there was no following of procedure here when it comes to the legal counsel in filing on time and seeking that condemnation if they are going to file late.
Now, indeed, in the rules of court, you can deviate from the rules of court, but then you have to actually ask the court to say, due to 1, 2, 3, and you need to set it out in your affidavit as to that. Why are you not following the practice directives? Why are you not following the rules in bringing in urgent application? Because there is practice directives coupled with the rules that you have to actually incorporate into your notice of motion with your affidavit. And if you don't do that, then that means it's not before the court. Then you don't have a solid reason why you have deviated from the court processes. And then obviously the court will come after you if you have done that.
And then on the aspect of prejudice in the right to a fair trial, where the applicants were arguing that such a documentary could influence the case, the judge said that the prejudice is not demonstrable here or sufficient. She said that they failed to indicate this, and judges can essentially not be influenced by documentaries in any event, and witnesses would be subjected to cross-examination. So for her, it was neither here nor there. Your take on just that?
No, indeed. And obviously now with a lot of the media platforms being allowed to actually appear in the courtrooms and actually record proceedings, it is one of the things that we have to live with. But obviously, judges need to be objective. They need to actually look at the evidence, and obviously one needs to look at evidence that's admissible, evidence that's not admissible, evidence that's hearsay, and those type of things. So there's rules and procedures in place that judges look at when they look at evidence in its totality to give weight to it and what should be considered in actually coming to a just and equitable verdict. The mere fact that there will be a documentary out, we can't say that this will influence the judge, how the judge testify, and most of the information I think that's in the documentary is already in the public domain, so you can't really say witnesses would be influenced by that because it's in the public domain. It's out there that they were caught in Tanzania, they were brought back, it was on national television, everything. So most of the information I think that's in the documentary is already in the public domain. So how will it affect your fair trial rights? And at this point in time, the documentary doesn't disclose as to who's going to be the witnesses that will be called to come and testify on certain aspects that the state is going to present as evidence. So it's for me, it's a little bit, there might be some prejudice, but I don't think the prejudice of such a nature that you cannot deal with it when you lead evidence and when you cross-examine witnesses.
And at least we heard that on the part of the public forming an opinion that such is a byproduct of the criminal justice system, that everything happens in the public, so most certainly, unfortunately, the public will form an opinion about you. But we'll leave it there for now. Elton, thank you very much as always for joining us on the program. That is Elton Hart. He is a UJ attorney.